everybody, it's Terry Schultz and I'm Legally Crafty, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you from Aledo, Texas. And today I wanted to show you a technique and make a simple card and then step it up a little bit for you. And I'm hoping it won't take too long to go through all of this, but I've been playing a little bit. You can see I've already got ink on my hands, which is fine. That means I'm having fun, right? So, but before I get started, I wanted to remind you of something. The new Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is available now as of the 1st. So today is the 5th, so 4 days ago. This is the new machine and I can't even explain how awesome it is. I mean, it cuts like butter. It is so smooth and it closes up so compact and it's nice and sturdy, and it comes with these three plates. So you get the base plate, which gives you pictures on how to make your sandwiches, and then this plate that goes on it when you're cutting thin dies, and then 2 of these. Of course, this one is an old one, and then I'm using one of the new ones with it, but you get 2 new ones, and then you also get this plate, which is for embossing. So it is super awesome, and I would encourage you to get it. It is amazing. And if you order it from me, you can go on my website and order it from me, and I'll send you a special gift for ordering it from me. And if you wanted to join on my team, you could get this. It's $120. So for $99, you get $125 worth of products. So you could put this in your starter kit and then add $5 more, but you've got this for $99, which is amazing. So I want to get started today, and we're going to make a couple of cards using the Forever Fern stamp set and then the coordinating dies, which these are amazing dies. I mean, they just coordinate with these images, and then you've got some extra little florals that you can cut out, which are awesome. And then you've got some really fun sentiments with this, and we're just going to use this "you can do this" sentiment. So we're going to get started. We're going to make a simple card, and we're going to make a little bit stepped up card. But what I want to do is do some watercoloring to make a background. So we're going to, these are the new water painters, and you get this thick brush and then 2 other, one that's a little bit kind of like the old aqua painters, and then this one is a little bit thinner or finer of a pointed tip like this one. So I'm going to start by getting my paper wet, and I'm actually not very good at watercoloring. I'm still kind of learning, but this is a simple background that you can make even if you're not super good at watercoloring. And then I have just a little dried baby wipe here that I'm going to use to wipe my brush on. So the colors I'm using that go with this suite are all of the kind of green colors: Pear Pizzazz, Shaded Spruce, Just Jade, Soft Seafoam, and Pretty Peacock. So I'm going to start with some Pear Pizzazz, and I'm just getting a block and stamping it to get some ink on my block. You could use a re-inker to put some ink on your block as well. That's an easy way to do it too. And then I'm just going to get some ink on my brush here, and I'm just going to make kind of a circling motion here just to get a little bit on here. And you want to keep your paper wet, and then not get too carried away, which is my problem. I tend to get a little bit carried away with my watercoloring because, I don't know, I'm just not good at it. My husband loves to paint watercolor, and I need to just take some lessons from him. He's willing to show me how to do some things. So now I'm going to take this brush, the little fine tip one, and I'm going to use the Pretty Peacock, and I already kind of have some in this lid. So, and see what I did? You be careful because you can get that on your paper. I'm just kind of a mess. So I want this open so I can get to my my color here. And I'm just going to take some of that, wipe it off a little bit. And then I don't really want it to mix too much with my Pear Pizzazz, because I discovered that will make it brown. So like I said, not an artist. So we'll do that, and then you kind of want it to dry. But I'm trying not to get a lot of overlap here. So I'm going to try to dry this a little bit, and I've got my heat tool, and I'm just kind of drying this. And it squishes the water around, which kind of makes a nice effect. And then that starts to look better. I just don't have a lot of patience with these things, I discovered. So that's why I don't do a lot of watercoloring. Because I don't like to wait for things to dry and all of that stuff. So now I can, once I get this a little bit drier, I kind of want it to go up a little bit more. So I'm just gonna get some more water on here, and that squishes it around a little bit more. And then I can dry it some more. So we've got a dry piece to use. So it's Labor Day weekend in the US, so I don't know what you're doing, but I'm happy to have a little bit of extra time off. We are just kind of hanging out today. I think we might go out and play some golf in a little bit after I get this done. And then we were supposed to go hang out with some friends tonight. Or they were going to come over to our house and hang out with us. But my son, who works as a valet, now I'm going to go ahead and do the second piece so that I've got both of them. And this one's drying while I'm making this one. And then I'm ready to make the two cards. So, and hopefully they'll come together pretty quickly. But I'm just going to get this nice and wet. And then I'm going to go ahead and get some of that Pear Pizzazz on my brush and just kind of make a circle. And I don't really want it to be even. That's my problem, I think, is I kind of get it too even. So anyway, I was saying, kind of need some more ink on here. That my son, who works as a valet and actually lives with us, he is 24 years old, woke up yesterday with a fever. So we went to the doctor, and the doctor thinks that it's the flu. They did a flu shot and a COVID shot, or COVID test. And I don't think we've gotten the results of either one of them. So we're just kind of waiting to see what's happening there. So I'm just putting a little bit of color of the blue, kind of, or the what is this, Pretty Peacock. This is one of last year's in colors, so it'll retire after this year. And we'll get some new in colors. All of the in colors are amazing, so you can't go wrong with the in colors. So I'm going to close these up for a minute, and I'm going to kind of try to dry this one off. So anyway, he woke up with a fever yesterday, went to the doctor. They think it's the flu. They gave him some antibiotics or something. Did a flu test and a COVID test, and we're just kind of waiting to find out what are the results. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have COVID, although he does work as a valet, so who knows what's in those cars he's parking. So that's fun, but I'm still working totally from home, which is nice. And my parents are going to come tomorrow, I think, and so get to hang out with them for a couple of days. They live up in Kansas, so it should be a pretty nice weekend. So I'm just going to leave that. I'm going to leave that like that. But this one I want to put a little bit more green on now that I've got it dried. And I need water because it's not wet enough here. There we go. Now that that blue is a little more dried, I can kind of spread a little bit more of the Pear Pizzazz into that to even it out a little bit. So I'm going to dry this one as well. And then, so this is just a real simple way to make a background, and it's a background, so it's going to be behind stuff and it's going to be covered up a bit, but it just gives some interest back there, which I like. And this is I'm using our watercolor paper called Fluid 100, I think, watercolor paper, which works really nicely to do some really great watercolor. So once we have that done, I'm going to set those aside and let them dry a little bit while I kind of prepare the card base for the first card. This is for the simple card. And so I've got a card base of just jade. That is 5.5 by 8.5. So it's just a sheet of the cardstock folded in half, and then, or cut in half. And then I'm going to just burnish that edge a little bit. Now what I want to do for the first card, and this is the simpler stamping card, is I'm going to take the Just Jade, and I'm going to take one of the images from the stamp set, and I'm just going to stamp up just this little top part here, and I'm just going to stamp it right along this edge right here. And it's not going to matter kind of how far in it goes. I just want some of the leaves right along this edge here. So I probably should have started at the bottom and gone up, but I don't think it matters, and you will see why. So now I'm going to clean this off using my Simply Chamois, which is just wet with water, and then you just rub the stamp set on it and it cleans it off, and it's awesome. So that's that, and then I have a piece of shaded spruce, which is one of the colors in the DSP that goes with this set. And so the watercolor paper is cut at 3.5 by 5, and then the shaded spruce sheet is cut at 3 5/8 by 5 1/8. So it's just a small border around the edge. So, but before I do that, I'm going to stamp on this watercolor page, which is now dry. So I'm not going to use this jade just yet. I'm going to use some Pear Pizzazz, and I think I got a little carried away when I made my sample card, so I'm going to try to not be so carried away with this one. I don't want it to be super busy, so I am just going to stamp some of these leaves in the Pear Pizzazz, and I'm gonna put one up kind of like that, and I just want a little bit there in the background. I don't want a lot. I think I'm gonna try doing one kind of down at the bottom as well. See what that does. So just like so. I think that will help. I didn't do that on a sample card, and I think I needed it. So that is the Pear Pizzazz. And now I'm going to take the pretty Peacock, and I'm going to use these, I don't know what that is, but I'm going to use this stamp. And I'm going to put one kind of going up this way, just like that. And I want one to go up a little bit higher, so I'm gonna just do one like that. And then I think without re-inking, I'm gonna put one kind of down like that. And I hope this will work out. So we live in Texas, and one thing about Texas is that we have this animal in abundance called an armadillo. And we have had an armadillo living in our yard for, my husband thinks it's been there the whole 10 years that we've lived here. He may be right. Somehow it lives in our, it's burrowed, it's got, actually, there's 3 entrances into the underground in our yard. So I think it's dug 3 entrances and kind of, they all connect. And so, and he goes down into some kind of space where he lives underground, and he can go out either one of any of them, and he gets in our yard and he tears it up. It is really a Caddyshack situation. I laugh because it is a Caddyshack situation. So I'm going to place my sentiment kind of like across here, a little bit low, and I'm using a piece of Pear Pizzazz, and I want it to be just 3.5 inches long. So I'm going to cut that, and I'm getting out my little paper trimmer that was part of the joining package during Celebration last year. And speaking of Celebration, while we're on the topic, I wanted to tell you that Stampin' Up! Is changing Celebration a little bit next year. And you might say, what? Celebration is so awesome. Why would you change it? And I agree with you. Celebration is one of the most awesome times. If you don't know what Celebration is, it's a time, a period of time during the Stampin' Up! Year when you can, when you order product and you order $50 worth of product, you get a free something for every $50 worth of product that you order, which is amazing. And there are always amazing things that you can get. So it's usually a 3-month long period from January 1 through the end of March. So what Stampin' Up! Is changing is they're going to make it a 2-month period, January and February, and then they're going to do it again in the summer, 2 more months. So you're going to get 4 months of Celebration, and you're going to get it twice. So I think that's pretty amazing. So, and they always have really good joining specials during Celebration. So I'm going to emboss my sentiment on this piece of Pear Pizzazz paper, and so I'm just going to stamp it down in Versamark ink, and that's a little crooked, so I'm going to try it again on the other side. They always have amazing joining specials during, excuse my head, during Celebration. And so I'm guessing they're gonna have really amazing joining specials twice next year. So that's amazing. I'll be right back. So now I'm going to emboss this with my heat gun. So, so that's what's happening with Celebration, which is, I think, amazing, and I'm excited to see kind of how it works for the next year. But there is an amazing joining special right now, and that is, if you join my team right now, you get a 2 like pre-packaged pre-cut card set of cardstock and stuff. Like if you wanted to teach a class, they're giving you all of the pre-cut stuff ready to go, and 2 free stamp sets. And the specific stamp sets, it's Queen Anne's lace, and I can't remember the name of the other one right now. But that's a pretty good deal, and you still wouldn't have to teach. You could still join and just be a discount shopper, but you'd get a couple of packages of pre-cut cardstock to make some projects, and also a couple of free stamp sets. And I'm just stamping these leaves on here just because I felt like I wanted a little bit of extra stamping on this sentiment, because it felt a little boring to me. And I did it 2 ways when I was making my sample cards. And the first way was this way, where I first embossed it and then stamped it. And the second way, I stamped it and then embossed it. And that didn't work as well, because what I found out was the embossing powder was sticking to the ink on the leaves, and that I didn't want that. So I'm doing it this way, which is easy to do. So now I'm going to just go ahead and mount this on my card base, and I'm using just liquid glue, which is in the catalog. And I like to use liquid glue because it gives you a little time to position your piece that you're putting on your card. So I'm not centering this, but I'm putting it on so you've got this little border here. And then I'm going to put a piece on the inside as well, and I'm going to stamp this. And I'm using, I think I'm using Pear Pizzazz, and I'm going to use this one again, just inking it up. And this is I'll point out that this is a distinctive stamp set, so you can see how you get the shading and everything just by stamping it, which is amazing. And that is a Stampin' Up! Has applied for patents on this kind of stamp set. The distinctive, it's the way that they're made that makes them this way. So I'm using this one again, and I'm using the Just Jade, and I'm just putting this one on the inside as well. So I think that looks real pretty. So now I will close that up so I don't have a disaster right there. And I'm going to put this on the inside of my card. And I am just like that. So there you have that on the inside of your card. Now, the last thing we need to do is put our sentiment on here, and I'm going to pop that up with some dimensionals. So I'm just going to put a few dimensionals along here, just like this. And just like, I'm not super good at getting these little backings off of the dimensionals, so sometimes I have to try at it a little bit. All right, got it. Now, so we will put it on right side up. We're just going to put it right here. And that is a pretty simple card, pretty simple stamping, and I think that background looks awesome. and then you have a little bit on the inside. So isn't that pretty? Now I am going to step that up just a little bit. So let's take a Just Jade card base again, and I'm going to take my bone folder and give that a good crease so that it's folded. And now instead of stamping on this side, I'm going to just put a piece of this is just a little strip, it's an inch wide, of the pattern paper that comes with this suite, and it's really awesome paper, really awesome patterns, and it's all these green colors, so you can just do a lot with this. So I'm just going to put that right along the edge right there. So that's ready. Now I am going to take the other piece that we watercolored, and I'm going to do a little bit of stamping on it as well. And I don't need these anymore, so let me put them away. Here we go, so that they don't get lost. Let me wash that off a little bit. I still got some green coloring on it. All right, so back to our little friend called the armadillo. He is stressing my husband out, and so once we discovered that he had, so first of all, a couple of days, a couple of times I go out walking in the morning before I start working, and I go out walking at around 6:15 or so. And so a couple of times when I went out walking at 6:15, that little stinker of an armadillo was in our yard still. And so I told my husband he was there, and I might not want that. I think that'll be fine. I'm going to put one down at the bottom. So that works. And he wanted to catch him, and I didn't want to mess with that, so I went on my walk. Well, then he was not happy with me for not being there to help him catch him. Then we saw him again, and I did stay around. We tried to catch him, but that's when we discovered his third burrow. So then my husband went ahead and blocked the entrance for 2 of his burrows with bricks, and put a cage. We've had a trap, and he's tried several times to trap that guy, and he just has avoided being trapped. And so he finally blocked 2 of the entrances, and put a trap by the third one with some bricks around it, and he caught him. And I went out one day to start my walk, and he was in the trap. And so I ran back in and told my husband that he got him, so he was super excited. So he drove him way out into the country, like way out, like, I don't know, 35, 40 miles away from our house into the country, and let him go. So he was so excited. And I mean, I would laugh because it really is like a Caddyshack situation. Like, it's, if you've ever seen the movie Caddyshack, it's a groundskeeper for a golf course, and he's got a gopher or a mole or something that is bothering him, and he does all these things throughout the movie to try to catch that thing, and he is not successful. My husband has never seen the movie, and he didn't think it was very funny. And he didn't want to see the movie until we caught him. So we finally caught him. He took him out in the country, and he was celebrating. My husband, so happy. And I don't know, it lasted like 2 weeks, and now we have another one tearing up our yard. And I don't know where this guy's from. I don't know. We joke that the one he took out in the country sent word to his cousins to step up their destruction of our yard. So now we have another one that we're trying to catch, and he's crafty because we've got the trap, we've got 2 of the entrances blocked, The trap is there, but he has gone through it and set it off and somehow still gotten out. So he is a crafty little guy. It's still a funny Caddyshack situation though. So for this one that I'm stepping up, I stamped several of the leaves you'll see on this sheet of paper, just a scrap of Whisper White. And I'm going to cut those out using the coordinating dies. And so I will do that and I will be right back. Now, here we go. Look how beautifully these cut out. This one actually got a little bit off, but I'm not going to worry about that. And then I had cut some, there's 4 of these little sprig kind of things, and I had cut some of those earlier from Shaded Spruce, and so I'm going to bring those in. I have a couple of them. And I like that Stampin' Up! Put 4 of those in this set of dies because you can cut multiples of them at one time. So I'm just putting my dies back in my holder, and I like to, what I do when I get my dies is I take them off of the, they come on a piece of paper with a real sticky piece of tape or some tape on it, and then the dies are kind of stuck down to the tape. And you can keep them like that, and they work great. I like to see the dies, and so they come in between this little piece here that tells the name and everything. So I like to put them on a magnet and put them kind of on the back so you can see what's in here, because I like to see what my dies are. So now let's get to putting this together. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my watercolored background onto a piece of Shaded Spruce, and it just, I think, helps give that a little bit of pop there. And then so to step it up so you can see how I'll put it on here like this, but to step it up a little bit, I'm going to do my sentiment again. I don't like that that's there, but I'm gonna pretend it's not there, and it'll be fine because I'm gonna use these and it'll be okay. So this ends up being a little bit more toward the middle of my page, and I'd like a little bit more of this one here. I think I need, actually I don't think I need, because I'm going to put some stuff down. So I'm going to use, in this suite, you get this bundle of some gold cord and then this, I don't know, linen kind of ribbon. So I'm using a little bit of this gold cord and I'm going to put it behind my sentiment. And so I'm just going to wrap it around my fingers a few times like this, and then just cut it. And this gold cord is really great. So we're gonna save that, and I'm gonna put it behind my sentiment. So I'm gonna emboss the sentiment again using Versamark ink and white embossing powder. I'm gonna use my embossing buddy here on it so that I don't get so many straggling. And I'm gonna stamp this down. Hopefully I can get it straight. And let me get some embossing powder on this and I'll be right back. And now I'm going to emboss this. I'm just waiting for my gun to heat up a little bit. There we go. I'm doing it from behind because then I don't get my hands in the way so much, so I don't burn myself. So that looks great. And you don't need, once your powder melts, you don't really need to hold your gun on there a lot. So I'm gonna cut this at 3.5 again, because that's the width of my watercolor paper. Oops, I almost cut right through the middle of my sentiment. That would not have been good. I would have had to redo that. There we go. So it's a little bit off center on here, but I think that's fine. And now one more time, I'm gonna go ahead and stamp these leaves on here so it's got a little bit of pattern on this. So that just gives me, that looks good, I think, actually. That just gives me a little more room for the leaves on that end, and I think that looks great. So I'm just going to stamp these. This is really a great stamp set. I really love playing with this. It's a great suite. It's got a lot of great things in the suite. The paper is amazing. These stamps are amazing. These distinctive stamps. So now I think that's all the stamping we're going to do. So that's ready. Now I'm going to take a little bit of Seal Plus, which is the new adhesive, and I'm going to put that kind of right here where my sentiment's going to go. And I'm going to take this gold thread that I wound up earlier, and normally you want to put this down as soon as you cut it off, but I didn't have it ready. So, and then you can just kind of stick it down randomly like that and kind of play with it a little bit. And then it looks really cool behind your sentiment. So I'm going to put just a couple of dimensionals here on the ends to lift this up. And I don't want a ton on here because I kind of do want one in the middle, because I like to make sure it stands up in the middle too. But I'm going to put these die cut pieces kind of behind it, and so I want to be able to fit those in. So I'm just going to put that across right there. And there we go. That looks really good. Now this is why I didn't care about that little strip there, because I'm going to kind of fit that in under there, and I'm going to cut that end off a little bit because it's kind of sticking out where I don't want it. So I'm going to just stick that up in there, a little further in there, kind of like that. Yeah, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on just the bottom here, because I kind of want them to move around a little bit. And I'm just going to tuck that up under there. And then I'm going to take one of these and tuck it up as well, kind of here, kind of under the little gold thread here, because I want us to see the thread. There we go. That's better. And then these I'll kind of put in the opposite direction, and I'm going to cut that little tail off a little bit more. So stick some glue down here and get these under here, and then get this one. And so I hope you get time to do a little bit of crafting this Labor Day weekend, and some time to enjoy your family. And I'm just going to stick one little sprig there and one little sprig here. We didn't do too bad on time today, I think. And I think that's really pretty. So I'm going to put that onto my card base. And then just like this. And then I'm going to get an inside piece, and I'm going to stamp the inside a little bit. And you could put, you know, a strip of patterned paper on the inside. That looks really nice. I'm trying to just do this a little more simply. Use my Just Jade again. And get these. They look like little, I don't know what they look like, beans almost. Just stamp that up there, and then a little bit there. So that fills that in a little bit. And that, let me put that on the inside of my card. That is my card. And I will have all the dimensions. Whoop. Well, that wasn't great. That'll dry. The great thing about our glue there is that it dries clear. So that will dry clear. I got in a little hurry, and look, I've got stuff on my hand. So I got a little bit of smushes on here, but I think that's fine. This will dry clear and it'll be fine, or I can fix it. But that's the card, and here's the simple card that we make. Just stamping, a little bit of watercoloring. Aren't those pretty? I just think they're beautiful. I really like how those turned out. So I will have on my blog the dimensions and everything you need. I will link directly to my store, so you can get anything you need from my store. And I would love to have you buy some supplies from me and participate in my VIP rewards program, which you can read about on my blog. But I think those are awesome, and you guys have a wonderful holiday weekend, and I hope you get some time to play, and come play with me again sometime, and I'll see you later. Thanks. Bye.